Shadow Binders is back in stock on shopclownfish.com. That's shopclownfish.com. And now on with the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, and we're going to talk about anime scams and anime scammers. Well, kind of. We're going to talk about how the Demon Slayer's animation studio, Ufotable, and company founder were indicted for tax evasion. That's one of the things we're going to talk about. Mostly we're going to talk about this anime streaming Kickstarter that got shut down. It raised more than $100,000 before Kickstarter suspended them. Now, the people running the campaign say they were on the level, but a lot of people working in the Western anime industry say no, it's not on the level, and these people are not licensed to carry this content. So we're gonna look into that a little bit. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, we're over 206,000 subs, almost 207,000. Thank you so much for the support. Greatly appreciated. I think we're going to talk about this Kickstarter debacle first. Man, they got ads all over the place. What was this, Vice? Yeah. Kickstarter shuts down anime streaming app that seemed too good to be true. That would be AnimeTube. And if you go out to their page on Kickstarter, they did raise over $100,000. They had almost 1,000 backers. And yeah, they claimed that it was a registered trademark anime streaming app in development for the following platforms: iOS, Apple TV, Android, Roku, Smart TV, etc., etc. Yeah, so there are a lot of these anime streamers popping up. I don't recall any of them going to Kickstarter to raise money. Like Retro Crush kind of came out of left field and actually has become my favorite streaming app. And they're talking about a lot of these shows, and I'm like, well, these old shows are on Retro Crush. Anyway, it's an interesting situation. So we're going to talk about this. Now, I do know that Kickstarter does shut down potentially trademark infringing campaigns. Now, sometimes they don't. You know, it depends on whether or not the rights holders complained, or in this case, I think it might have been people working at Crunchyroll or Viz or Funimation that might have complained to Kickstarter and said, hey, they're saying they're going to stream these shows, but we're the ones that actually have the rights to these shows. They can't stream them. Now, I remember back in the day, there was a lot of fuss made over a Square tribute album. It was a Square Enix Final Fantasy tribute album, and it raised a pretty decent chunk of change on Kickstarter, and Square actually shut it down. But then there was a Nintendo fan comic collection. I think it was Brawl in the Family, and it had Kirby characters and Mario characters, and it made like $200,000, and it did not get shut down. So I think it depends on whether or not the rights holders actually want to pursue action. And in this case, I do think it probably was like Funimation or Crunchyroll or somebody complaining they got it shut down. Well, here we go from Vice, which is begging for money, by the way. See our previous video. Kickstarter shuts down anime streaming app that seemed too good to be true. AnimeTube raised more than $100,000 before Kickstarter suspended it. A Kickstarter for a new anime streaming service raised more than $100,000, but anime industry professionals are casting doubts on its legitimacy. On Friday, the campaign was suspended by Kickstarter. AnimeTube's pitch on Kickstarter positions itself as a competitor to Crunchyroll, Verve, and Funimation. It specifically mentions these apps in their campaign, citing low ratings from users in the Google Play Store. Anime enthusiasts worldwide have expressed their discontent with the current anime apps. The few licensed anime apps on the marketplace are inundated with low ratings, between 2 and 3.5 stars. The pitch goes on to call AnimeTube the future of anime streaming apps, boasting an AI virtual assistant, free anime shows with ads, and a service called Anime Chat, which sounds like Amino, which is described as an extremely useful feature as well as a way to connect with other anime enthusiasts for suggestions or talk about anime in general. They do this on Viki, I think. When you're watching a show, they have live comments and you can interact with people. Initially, professionals in the anime industry took issue with how AnimeTube promoted the anime industry took issue with how AnimeTube promoted itself. If you look at AnimeTube's social media accounts, they use images from famous anime like Fullmetal Alchemist and Sword Art Online. These images are absent from the version of the video that's on their Kickstarter. According to a report from Anime News Network, the campaign previously used these images and linked to a list of shows that they said they had hoped to license. It was those images, among other red flags, that professionals in the anime industry pointed to as a sign that this Kickstarter may not be legit. Kickstarter told Motherboard it was actively reviewing the issues that have been raised about the project against our policies. It later told Motherboard it had suspended funding for the campaign. George Weller, the founder of AnimeTube's developer GameFace LLC, and his business partner Hironori Zusho told Motherboard that they plan to appeal Kickstarter's decision and that they object to the characterization of AnimeTube as a scam. This is the second Kickstarter for AnimeTube. Another campaign with a higher funding goal in June was canceled. If you go to the page for it now, it said that it was a subject of an intellectual property dispute. According to the one partner, the definition of a scam is like a dishonest act. Some of that wish in trying to is not really dishonest. We're still trying to do it. It's not impossible because people are saying that it's a scam. Right Stuff's CEO Sean Kleckner told Motherboard that they were not in talks with AnimeTube about licensing their titles to the platform. They mentioned some of their titles here were on there. I had inquired if any of our industry partners had heard from these folks, and no one had. I feel that it was disingenuous to show this long list that people would likely feel that they would be getting if they supported the Kickstarter. The founder of Anime News Network and owner of post-production company Media OCD told Motherboard that licensing anime is extremely expensive. That is true. They said that licensing competition has increased as you get Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Warner Brothers involved. That also is true. Look at what happened with Evangelion. The fourth Evangelion movie, Amazon paid through the nose to get streaming rights to it. So, and as far as the classic stuff is concerned, a lot of that stuff is tied up with right stuff. Now, where I think things could change, we talked about this before, is the Japanese bringing their own stuff out over here. And they've got this YouTube channel out there. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but they've been bringing a lot of anime over to this YouTube channel that hasn't been licensed in the States yet. I know Tubi has picked up some Toei shows that had never been licensed in the States before. But again, Tubi's got Fox money. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. So the problem isn't the capital, but you have to give people a reason to work with you. All the stuff that Netflix has been doing, they've been working on for a decade and trying to build bridges in the anime space. It's taken them that long to get the trust going. So now we've got all that anime chiming in. We've got a lot of potential competitors. Now, the cynic in me says maybe this was kind of a concerted effort. All these people got together and said, yeah, we can't have another competitor in this space. But in this case, I think they're actually right. I think it's kind of like, this sounds a little iffy, and just because they build the platform doesn't mean they're going to have any shows on it either. I mean, look at what has happened with several of these video game consoles that have been crowdfunded. Remember the Atari one? Remember, was it Ouya, Ooey, Wee Wee, whatever it was called? Remember that? Yeah, of course you don't. Nobody cares. They got millions of dollars. They eventually did produce the product, but nobody cared. Nobody supported it. Nobody developed games for it, and it went down the memory hole. And in this case, I think it's already pretty saturated. I think there are already so many anime streaming apps out there and so many other streamers that want to get into anime that, other than piracy, I don't know what the motivation would be. And $100,000 is not going to cut it. Still, did they actually intend to scam people? I don't think so. I think they wanted to create an alternative, probably. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot more complicated than just saying, hey, let's build an app and we're going to throw all this anime on it, right? So anyway, that is that. So Kickstarter shut that down. Demon Slayer, the animation studio Ufotable, and the company founder indicted for tax evasion. And they released a statement too. They said the studio behind the smash hit featured Demon Slayer, the movie Mugen Train, has been formally indicted by the Japanese government for tax evasion. Prosecutors in the Tokyo District Public Prosecutor's Office sought $1.24 million in unpaid taxes. So studio founder Hikaru Kondo, 51, has also been indicted according to the Japan Times. Now, he stepped down in 2019. Tokyo Regional Taxation Bureau found that Kondo minimized the company's income for the fiscal years ending 2015, 2017, 2018, and he underpaid 109 million yen in corporate taxes. The remaining 28 million Ufotable owed was in consumption taxes, which stem from the company's retail, cafe, and restaurant business. They got lots of money now, don't they? They can pay more taxes. In a statement on the website, the company says it has fully repaid the amount it owed the government. The news of the tax evasion comes amid growing awareness of how little rank-and-file workers earn in the anime industry. Stories suggest that even though many artists don't earn a living wage working in Japan's animation industry, there's plenty of excess money floating around studios at the management level. Well, it might be true. What was it? Mappa, they built a brand new studio, and this is after they got slammed for underpaying people. But here's the statement, very bare bones. Recently, our company and our representative have been indicted in February of last year for being charged by the Tokyo National Taxation Bureau on suspicion of violating the corporate tax law. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused to the fans and other related parties who support our work. In addition, we filed an amended tax return in accordance with the guidance of the national tax authorities and paid the full amount. Taking this opportunity as an opportunity, we will comply with laws and regulations and strive to optimize management in order to improve the production environment for sustainable and better production. I wonder if this would have happened if Demon Slayer hadn't been so popular. I think they've become kind of a big target, right? Like, they're going to look at them and be like, oh, this Demon Slayer thing, this is probably making a lot of money. We better look into this for sure. So there we go, guys. 2 stories about scams or potential scams in the anime industry. I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.